What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is Blinker. I'm back. Back to Blinkers Off. What's up, my friend?
You're back, feeling good. You know, you're excited. I like it, man. A little enthusiasm. That's always nice to see out of the host. So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a hell of a show. We're gonna close out 2020. Isn't it fitting? We're the last show of the 3 shows we now have.
That's why I'm so excited. Like, I'm just so excited to not. I mean, I'm glad you guys are here, but I'm just ready to have it done. I'm ready to have the show over with, so I can just be like, good riddance. It's the last podcast of 2020. I mean, sometimes we do when we take a weekend off or a week off, I put together like random shows like this. I feel like this year I could put something together when you just talk about the vast amount of subjects we've talked about this year. When it comes to FBI raids, that's when it started. FBI raids to COVID to obviously the Triple Crown Trail being all over the place and the Breeders' Cup. And I mean, it's just been one thing after another. So good. It's an amazing show because we're going to talk about a lot of 2021 Kentucky Derby, preps and just good effing riddance for 2020.
You're right. A lot of people forget about the FBI raids. When COVID happened, it's like, we don't care about that anymore. So I forgot about that. That was fun. When we reflect back on this year, it is going to be a little crazy. I'll never forget that shit with the FBI that day with the Navarro in service. That broke like really early in the morning. I rolled out of bed and I pick up my phone. First thing I do usually is look at Twitter. And it's all over the place. It's like a couple of tweets from some unverified people are going, "Oh, it's going down today." I'm like, what is this shit? And it's like, wow. 2 minutes later, there they go, and Navarro in service or in prison, or they're trying to put him in prison or whatever. But yeah, that just started a crazy time. Yeah, the COVID thing. But listen, like I said, we're going to talk a lot of 2021 on this show in the Kentucky Derby, and that's great. Let's get the hell out of 2020. Where we live here, about 7 hours left of it. So that's all right.
Yeah, it's funny too. No, I mean, it's not funny, but it's like the FBI thing happens and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is a crazy year already. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And then it's like you say, the FBI thing is like number like 400 on the things that happened this year. I feel like, 2020 was just like, hold my beer and hang on. Yeah, I got some more coming. So yeah. It's great to have the year wrapping up. I knock on wood. I feel like we are starting to get, obviously with the vaccination and things happening, and obviously the tracks, obviously, coming back, but maybe a limited amount of fans there, but still that's better than no fans. The Derby season, let's hope, kind of back on schedule, a normal thing, just, it's going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but it definitely isn't, we're on the up and up, I feel like. So yeah, here's the 2021. But no, so I know that you've been itching to talk about this, and you obviously, congrats to your OU Sooners. We usually have to wait to the end of the show, but I know this is probably the best thing you saw today, so we'll just get right to it. So best thing you saw today, I'll let you go.
Yeah, so OU, the big win last night over Florida, and coming into that game, you had to know that Florida was in big trouble without their 4 best wide receivers. A lot of opt-outs on defense too that didn't get publicized as much, but they were just in a situation where they didn't want to be there. And I've been there a lot as a fan, and people that maybe aren't fans of big college football programs. When you go into a season and your goal is to make the playoffs, and then you don't make it, and especially if you get knocked out late in the year like Florida did, you're kind of done. You don't really care about these bowl games. OU's been in this situation a lot. It happens. So going into the night, I felt not bad for Florida, but a little empathetic to their coaching staff and to their fans. I know what it's like to show up for a game where it should be an evenly matched game, but you're not ready to play. You get your ass kicked and you get embarrassed. And, the thing that I will love always about Lincoln Riley and about Bob Stoops when it happened to him, and trust me, I'm not a huge Lincoln Riley fan, but in the press game or the post-game press conference, he took it like a man. He didn't go out there and act like a punk bitch like Dan Mullen did last night. I had no problem with Florida or no problem with Dan Mullen until last night. Trust me. I thought Dan Mullen was a pretty good coach. But to get in that press conference after getting your ass kicked and getting embarrassed and you doing such a piss poor job to get the players you did have ready to play, and to just say, well, the real Florida Gators played their last game 11 days ago, and we don't give a shit about the bowl game and this and that. And it's just, you know what? That is such a terrible precedent to set as the head of that program. I got to tell you, Florida fans, I don't think you better be thinking that this guy's going to take you back to where Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer took you. This guy's a far cry from those two coaches. And last night, not the game, not even the way they played, but the way he acted after that game, I have no use for Dan Mullen. I mean, I don't think he's the answer for Florida. I can look back. You know, you want to see how a man takes a beating. Look back at Lincoln Riley's press conference last year when we got absolutely annihilated and embarrassed by LSU. And we lost guys out of the secondary that, you know, for that game before, and our best defensive lineman. And they brought that up after the game last year, and he said, hey, we recruit players. We've got players on this team. It's our job to get ready to play. I don't make any excuses for us. And Dan Mullen was the exact opposite of that. And that guy should be embarrassed and ashamed of himself. And the entire Florida fan base, which is a very proud fan base, and people I don't have any problem with whatsoever, should be absolutely furious this morning. And it doesn't have anything to do with the score of that game.
Yeah. So is that the audio that you showed me just a little bit ago?
Yeah. That was him
okay.
2 years ago. So I tweeted a tweet from him 2 years ago talking about, hey, I don't care what we do. I don't care if we're arm wrestling. I want to kick your ass. Like, I got so much pride, and we would never do this at Florida. And then your team shows up and it does that. And not only that, you come on in the press conference after the game and say, well, sure, we played like shit. I didn't give a shit about this game. I mean, that's basically what he said. He's a joke. That guy is a joke.
Dude. So thank you by the way, for everyone that's tuning in right now. We've had up to 40 people at one time watching this right now. And thank you for tuning us. If you are watching us live, we appreciate YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If not, make sure you join us next time for our weekly shows. But yeah, dude, I mean, I tried. Obviously, I like OU because of you, and I was excited to watch a good bowl game, OU Florida, right? You know, and man, it was just like you could tell from the start that sucker was over. Oh, you know, Florida had, and I get it. Like, I get that you have a lot of opt outs, but it's like, don't you want your name to be, you know, like you're Florida? You know, you want to win a bowl game. And not just that, but not just take it. And by the way, their quarterback, the Heisman, he was awful.
He was
I heard you say it, and I've heard a lot of other people. It's like, yeah, I mean, still, he's a great quarterback. He's obviously a Heisman contender. And what's his name? What's his last name? Trask.
Yeah.
And it's like the dude throws 3 interceptions like that, which I think it was like one of the first times in like years that a quarterback has thrown 3 interceptions in the first quarter of a bowl game.
Yeah.
2 of them were right to an OU player. Like, they weren't even good interceptions. They just caught it. It was unbelievable. It's like, so if there's one glimmer, it was like, okay, you need this quarterback to wheel, you know, this team to at least make it competitive. And he didn't. I mean, it was awful.
Well, he hurt him big time. I mean, the only way Florida was going to win that game or have a chance to be in that game was to get out to a good start early, get some momentum, get some good things happening, and maybe some of those guys would kind of get involved in the game a little bit. And when he throws 3 interceptions in the first quarter, it's like, well, hell. And if you watch the game, they were moving the ball. He just was throwing it right to us for some reason. But, you know, the thing about it is, and Dan Mullen can make all the excuses he wants, they got behind 17-0, and they battled back and made it 17-13. So they were in the game. And then OU scored to make it 24-13, and they quit. Florida just quit. And to me, that is a sign of a really, really poorly coached football team. You're still in the game. I'm not saying they should have won. They absolutely shouldn't have won. They were overmatched. They just didn't have their guys. But, I mean, to just totally quit like that was shocking to me.
When they got it 17-10,
yeah,
and then I think we had the ball again, you're like, oh, okay, so this is what's, you know, OU, and I'm sure as you are very well aware, typical OU, it's like it's going to make this game close. Yep. And they've dominated the game other than the first 3 minutes of it or whatever. And you just had that feeling. And so I feel like it was ready for them.
Yeah.
It just didn't. So,
yep. No, for sure. It was right there. I tell you, I'll be shocked if Florida's any good under Dan Mullen. I will be shocked after this.
All right. This is a good one. I feel like we're both bashing people for our best thing we saw. I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure you did. I'm sure Paul sent it to you too. Did you see, the Charlatan article?
No. Which one? Where they're saying he's going to be a Derby contender?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the best thing I saw today is this article, and it's like a legit article. It's on the and it was posted. I think they took it down, but thank goodness for archive.org. You can still find it, and it was on the Ocala Star banner, which I guess is like a news newspaper, online newspaper, Ocala Star banner. And the dude writes an article about Charlatan being like the more I think about it, the funnier it gets. It's like he really thinks he's found the Bob Baffert kind of under the radar horse.
That's how it's wrote. Yeah, that's how it's wrote. Yeah.
It's literally like a horse trained by Bob Baffert, Charlatan, is not on most lists of Derby contenders, although I think he should be. Charlatan is undefeated on the racetrack in 4 races. And then I was like, okay. And I was dying about it because I'm like, he mentions that the horse won the Arkansas Derby. So it's like, did not register at all that that the horse was already on the Derby trail last year? I mean, it's just hilarious. Like, because then you're like, okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But you scroll down, it's like, no, he's listing off other 2021 contenders like Essential Quality, Brooklyn Strong, Hot Rod Charlie, Highly Motivated. Like, those are the horses. But Charlatan is like the horse.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one that he's like, no one's talking about this horse. It needs to be on your list. And I don't know the author. I'm not going to you can find it if you want to. But yeah, it's just like the social media when someone posted that on social media, like legit, like it was like, it was like they didn't think about it, and then the comments are just hysterical.
Oh, it definitely is. It's from the perspective of, I can't believe nobody's talking about this horse for the Derby. Like, the whole article is like, I think I've really found something, like you said. So it's hilarious. And I also love, like, whoever wrote this, it was like really oddly put together. Like, he was talking about, hey, I don't know everything, but it is my job to talk about horse racing to you people, and it's like, you're doing a really bang up job. So,
part of me wanted to give them, because we get a lot of, and I'm sure everyone does, promoted post type things where you get promoted posts, and trust me, we get them, and we have to filter through them. Magic can attest to that, and sometimes they're awful, and sometimes they are very, very wrong. And so I was like, well, maybe that, but there was no links. There's nothing. There's nothing in it. It's a legit article. Yeah, and you're right. It was really weirdly written, and it's like I just can't stop laughing about it, because you could really tell by the way, if you read it, it's like he really feels like he found a gem here. Like, this Charlatan is the horse. So Paul's advice to me was to claim Charlatan on the first claiming period. So if you get a claim for Charlatan from me, I expect you to fulfill it on Monday, please.
Don't you wish he would have said something like, in the Racing Dudes, nobody drafted this horse? The other, it's just, to me, I got onto this like 3 days after it was posted, because I get on Twitter, but it's like, I don't really pay a ton of attention to like all the tweets, but I kept seeing this article over and over. I'm like, what is this shit? And then I realized what happened, but it took them like 4 or 5 days to take that article down. And one theory, and I apologize for whoever tweeted this. I don't remember who it was. Their theory was that website is probably getting more traffic to it than it has all year because of this article and how terrible it is. So they probably kept it up on purpose because they were getting page views from it.
Michael Myers says there's a paragraph about how the Americans lack common sense. The irony. Yeah. Oh man, the irony is definitely there. Yeah. We may not always get the right picks on the site, but I guarantee you we're at least picking the proper age horse. Like we know at least that the horses, like my fantasy team might be awful, but they're all qualified to run in Derby.
they're all going to be 3 years old tomorrow. So.
Yeah, they may not be all males, we'll learn that one, but they're all going to be qualified to run in 3-year-old races. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was easily the best thing. Hey, I mean, he sent it to me, Paul. I was like, "What is this?" And I'm the same way with you. I was like, "What is?" I've seen that on Twitter, but I never read it. And I was like, "What is this?" And so, because he's like, "You should draft Charlotte, or you should claim Charlton." I'm like, "What are you talking?" Paul. Like you're like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, that's good. So there you go. Thanks, Paul.
They're struggling down in Florida. Oh, Danny Mullen, he's struggling, and this guy down in Ocala is struggling. It's a struggle right now.
They don't give a shit about COVID down there, and they just are just running. Life is just kind of running by them right now, and they're trying to keep up. So, thank you for that article. Perfect end to 2020. Charlton, by the way, is going to turn. He's going to stay 3. When 2021 rolls around. So I don't know if you know that, but Bob he's found a way to never mind. I'll stop there. All right, today's show, we're going to preview the $100,000 Sham Stakes. We got a Baffert horse in there, a legit Baffert horse, at Santa Anita Park. It's a Kentucky Derby prep featuring Life is Good. We also will look at the $150,000 Jerome Stakes and the $100,000 Mucho Macho Man Stakes. And then we're going to rapid fire selections for some of the other major stakes races running on the final blinkers off of 2020. Let's go.
Man, felt good to get that off my chest.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I bet it did. That was what was like the sense of OU fans after that game? Did anybody really care? It's like, yeah, we won. We should have won. Now let's just move on to next year.
Well, I think we're happy for sure. I mean, anytime you beat somebody's ass like that in what was supposed to be, a fairly evenly matchup of the game, I mean, we were happy about it. But it's more of exactly what you said. Okay, you guys really screwed this season up, but we got everybody back, and we got a lot better, and we got a lot of young guys playing this year that are back, and next year, you guys have set it up for next year. So.
I will say this, and I'm a big critic of Spencer Rattler, and I know you are a little bit too. But he seems like he's matured more,
no doubt,
throughout the year, and he seemed like it definitely last night. Like he seemed like he kind of took a more of a leadership role last night than I've seen from him this year. So I mean, obviously the talent is pretty high with him. So it's like if he can just continue to develop as a leader and kind of a person, then I think, I mean, that makes it exciting, especially like you say, they're all coming back.
I'm very unfairly critical of Spencer Rattler. He had a really, really good season, but he is very, very, very unlikable. And he plays for my favorite team, and he's very unlikable. I don't like him, but I do think he's very talented. So he showed a lot the whole season. The 2 losses early were not on him either. He played pretty good in both those losses. So he had a great freshman year. Really, really, really good.
Yeah, he's just a douchebag. But I mean,
he is.
He is getting better. Like I said, he seems like he's becoming less douchey.
Well, he got benched in the Texas game, and I think it kind of brought him back to reality a little bit. So I mean, he had a really good season. I mean, I'm unfairly critical of him. I'll be the first to admit that.
All right, so we're going to do 3 Derby preps here. 2 official, 3 kind of total with Mucho Macho Man, and then we're going to do. I think we have 4 rapid fires that are not Derby preps, so we're going to talk about those coming up. So if you guys got questions, comments, obviously Derby talk. So just hit us up. These races are not, especially the Jerome, are not loaded with talent, but Jerome tomorrow at Aqueduct is the first official Derby prep of 2021, and then obviously Life is Good, who very well could be the Derby winner at this point, runs on Saturday in the Sham for Bob Baffert. Big shocker there. So tough luck, Bob. He's just having a hard time getting these 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds to develop. So
yeah. I feel terrible for him.
All right. 3, 2. Wait, hang on. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, 3 Derby preps to talk about on today's show. We have 2 official Derby preps, 10-4-2-1 for your top 4 finishers. We'll kick it off with, if you listen to this on Thursday night, it's Friday. It's today, the Jerome at Aqueduct with 150K. It's race 8, going 1 mile for 3-year-olds. Field of 5 lines up for this one. 7-5 on Swill for Brad Cox. 9-5 on Eagle Orb. The 4 horse there. So, I mean, really, there's not a lot in this race, right? Especially when you move forward. Is there anything in this race? I guess who's your pick? What are you thinking? Is there anyone in this race that you should be serious about? We'll kind of use that as a template, on these races. Who do you like in this race to win? And then in general, what do you think about the race moving forward?
I love how we had a lot of enthusiasm for the show until we got to this race. It's like, okay, well, let's get this shit over with.
And trust me, I didn't want to do it first. It's just I just went in chronological order. It's like, oh well, shit. I guess we got to do the Jerome first. So
no, it makes sense to do it first. Look, this race is really, really hot garbage. For the first time ever, there's no fantasy league horse in this race. And that never happens. Last year.
Has that ever happened in a Derby prep?
No. Maybe in a Derby prep, it's down the road and it's like, well, we just somehow we hit a little lull. But the first one, we always have a guy, and it's usually me, and I think Saratoga Slim has done it as well, that they target this race because it's 20 points for our purposes, for our fantasy league. So it's a good 20 points to get. It's usually an easy race. This is just bad. Like, even if you win this race, you don't want these horses going forward. So to answer the second question first, I don't like any horse in this race going forward here at Aqueduct. I went with number 2 Swill on top, and I don't think this horse is very good, and I got overhyped on this horse pretty much all summer. But I do think Swill is the best of a bad group. Didn't do much running to start the year. 2 starts back, Swill did look pretty sharp in a 1-turn, 7 furlong maiden special weight at Churchill Downs, won by 3 lengths, went right into the Kentucky Jockey Club, which is the logical step. I would have done the same thing at 1 mile and a 16th. And I wouldn't say he ran awful, but it was just kind of okay. So, got 4th, just kind of blah. I think the cut back to the 1-turn race, it's a mile. I think this might be absolutely perfect for the son of Munnings. So that was the main thing that put me over the top on number 2 Swill. I just think the conditions will be perfect for this horse to get a win.
Yeah, well, first, one of the questions from Michael Meyer is over under 0.5 for the number of starters to make the Kentucky Derby gate. Yeah, under. I agree. For one, Swill is a sprinter. I don't think Swill is going to get the distance, which is why he went from 1 mile 16th. We're seeing him cut back here, So I think this makes sense for him. It's both in the quality of the field and also the distance of the field of the race. So he's one that, you hate to see horses win races like this that, you know what I mean? Like that earn points for the Derby that aren't going to get to the Derby or get the Derby distance. But that's, I think we might have here. It was really, I think, Eagle Orb is his threat. Another horse if there was a horse that I'm most interested in moving to the Derby trail, like that could be legit, it's the 5 Original. Like I think that horse, is like the first start is a draw a line through race. That it was a terrible start. Just never had a shot in the race. And then, comes back, runs on the turf, and runs awesome, right? But you've got, it's a quality road. It's a big-time purchase. So, obviously there's some high hopes there, and they're on the Derby trail. So, right now. So, yeah, if he runs a really good race here, you can make a case for him to kind of improving as they go. But, yeah, listen, for this race, I'm picking Swill, and I'm not excited about any of them.
No, I'm with you. I think if there is one horse that's going to, it's an outside shot, but has a shot to make the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby, it is number 5 Original. And one thing you didn't really mention about that maiden, and by the way, it was a disaster, no chance to draw a line through it. That was also a really good maiden. Speaker's Corner, Caddo River, Great as Honor, those 3 horses were really good. So even if that horse, runs well, maybe he still doesn't win in that spot. I would have liked to see them try the dirt again and he break his maiden over the dirt instead of the turf. That's kind of the one worry. But, I mean, in a race like this, you're going to have to take somebody you don't like. And so I would play the 2 and the 5 and just kind of go from there on that.
Yeah. I mean, do you not like Eagle Orb in this race?
I don't particularly like Eagle Orb past about 6 furlongs. And I just think, I don't know. It's for lack of a better word, the horse is just kind of boring to me. You know what I mean? And maybe a boring horse can win this race, but it's like, yeah, when you face up against somebody decent, you don't really run all that well. And when you face, weak New York company, you do pretty decent. But I don't know. I don't love Eagle Orb. I think that's at 9 to 5. That's one I'll try to play against on top.
I would play definitely my multis. I'm playing the 2 to 5. If I can, I would play the 4 just to cover myself. But I'm with you. I like the 2 and 5, and we both have number 2 Swill on top. Okay,
these are grade 2, 3, and 3 horses. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. They might not be.
I don't even know what they're grade. They might even be ungraded races. So
I don't know. They're bad.
Oh, there's the Jerome. Oops. Okay. Now let's go to a race with some horses in it. How about that? There might not be very many, but there are some horses in it.
Let's do it. I got a shout out to Magic during this preview.
Oh, great. Oh. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's move to Saturday and let's go to Santa Anita Park, race 8, the Sham Stakes grade 3 with 100K for 3-year-olds going 1 mile. And it's a Derby prep as well. 10-4-2-1 for your top 4 finishers. And there's only 5 horses in the race. So they all have a good chance of at least getting a point. And it really, there's no mistake. I mean, it's pretty rare when you see John White make a morning line this low, 2 to 5 on the 5. Life is good for Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert's got 2 in here. Medina Spirit is in here, 5 to 2 on Pernelli. John Sheriff's horse, I believe, is on your team, right? And 2 to 5 on the Life is Good. Obviously, this horse was the number 1 pick in the draft. John and Ryan, big surprise. And, so obviously this is a huge race for him. But is it going to be much of a test at all for him, you think?
Nope. Really easy race for Life is Good. Single and move on. I just don't think anybody else has any shot. He looks so damn good on debut. I mean, my God, he looked like a monster. And, for what it's worth, the second place finisher of that maiden special weight race came back to win next time out at Santa Anita. Is actually last Saturday. So Life is Good, easy single. I think the biggest thing is, how does he look around 2 turns? Obviously the first race was sprinting. So now we get a 2-turn race to kind of evaluate how he looks. He doesn't have to look great to win this race, but let's see how he handles this 2-turn test. And, just see, hey, was he getting a little tired at the end? Was he still on cruise control? Things like that. The whole racing world is going to be watching this horse and analyzing every move he makes, including me. So, but it's going to be fun to watch. It's not going to be fun to bet. You single here and you move on. I'm not interested in any of these other horses pulling off the upset here against Life is Good.
Yeah, it's to me. I mean, it's hard to come up with a scenario that he were to get beat here, right? It's one thing how good he looked on debut. It's another it's just been one workout after another that he just looks flawless on the track. You see pictures of this guy. Sometimes you can just tell, right? You just know the difference of these good ones. Especially, I mean, when it's a Baffert like this, you just kind of, we've seen it for so many years. When he's got a really good one, you pretty much know, versus by either way he's talking, by the way he looks, by the way he's working, by the way he runs his first race, whatever it is. And this course does it all, has it all, everything around it surrounds this horse. So yeah, I'm with you. Life is Good. It's more than anything, like you say, it's just interesting. It's going a mile, going 2 turns, see how he does. I guess maybe an interesting question would be, how does he handle his speed, in this race? Can he kind of move on as he did in his debut, going 6.5 furlongs? Can he continue to bet? That's crazy. I mean, he went 21 and 44 that day. I mean, he was moving. So can he slow him down? If not, can he go that fast and continue on? So there's a lot to kind of in that sense. I think he's gonna run them off their feet here. So number 5, Life is Good.
So I want to make 2 quick points, just real quick before we move on. You said something very interesting, that he went so fast and he was really moving, and you're 100% right. Here's how you know when a horse is really, really good: when they can put up those kind of fractions. But if you're not looking at the clock and you're just watching that horse, you're thinking he's just in a nice, easy gallop around there. Like if you watch that race and don't look at the fractions, you think, well, he probably went 23 and 46. No, it's effortless for this horse. So yeah, Tough Luck Bob, another horse of a lifetime. So congratulations to him. I know he hadn't had one in a while. I want to give Magic a quick shout out before we move on, because I made the New Year's resolution of I'm just not going to give a shit what I write on the site anymore as far as about being professional when it comes to Tough Luck Bob and short field at Santa Anita. Like, I'm just going to just write whatever's in my head. I'm not going to be professional. And then Magic can edit it however he wants. So I said Tough Luck Bob like 7 times in this article. And I don't care. That's what I'm going to call him all year. So I noticed that Magic, he didn't edit any of it out. So Magic's cool with it. But the one thing that Magic edited out, in the opening paragraph, I said something about the Sham Stakes, Santa Anita. It's drawn a vastly large field of 5 runners, making fun of the Southern California stakes field sizes.
Right.
Magic took that one out. So you cannot make fun of Santa Anita. So that I've learned that about Magic. So I hope you have a good eye in 2021, Magic, because I really don't care about being professional anymore with these articles. So
I love how you could say, like say Tough Luck Bob, you could say, he's going to inject some speed into this race or whatever it is. But that he's like, that's fine. But if you make any kind of comment about Santa Anita,
it's out.
It's out. It's gone.
Got taken out.
Before we move on, I think a good question, because Michael Myers likes Pernelli in here. And I don't know if about this race, but just in general. So like we kind of, obviously who we like, but what other horses are in the race that, moving forward, because obviously Pernelli is a good horse for John Sheriff's, a horse that was drafted. Medina Spirit was drafted, and Bob Baffert at first time, wins on his debut, but kind of like Life is Good, much different way, but just still won. So some of these horses, like, some of these people looking these horses moving forward?
Yeah, as I scanned down, I also cussed in the article, and he didn't take that out either. But for Pernelli,
what word did you use?
I said ass. That's not that big. Under Party Crashers, I said there won't be an upset in this one. Simply put, this should be an ass kicking. And I thought for sure he'd take that out. He didn't. But to Pernelli and Michael Myers, you mentioned Pernelli. I fully expect him to get second in this race. I fully expect him to get second and third along the Derby trail at Santa Anita. That's why I drafted him. I think he can kind of sneak in the Kentucky Derby. I don't think he's really a serious candidate as far as winning a major race, on the Derby trail. Maybe afterwards, when everybody's kind of spread out, he'll sneak up and win one after the Kentucky Derby. But I do think he's going to hit the board in a lot of these races.
What about Medina Spirit?
Yeah, I think you got a little bit to prove. I mean, these Los Al Maiden winners for Tough Luck Bob, sometimes they do turn out to be decent, and sometimes they're just kind of shitty. Look at Azul Coast. I messed with Azul Coast for months last year, and he just never was any good. So Los Al Maiden winners, they definitely can go either way. So I think this is kind of a proving ground for him. I kind of prefer Pernelli over him as far as getting second in this spot.
All right. Life is Good. Let's see how good it is on Saturday. That was pretty smooth there.
That was very smooth. Michael Myers says he wanted to draft editor-in-chief. Dan said, draft Pernelli over editor-in-chief. Dan said no. That was a mistake. Is what I think. Editor-in-chief is a big-time plotter, and Dan always kind of thinks these horses will get better with distance, and a few of them do. I don't think he's one of them. I don't think Editor-in-Chief has a lot of natural ability, but hey, I could be wrong.
I would like to be a two-man team, because I feel like I could use. You always have that skate. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I wanted to claim that horse, and they said no. To me, it's like whenever it's just us, you gotta live with your stupid decisions. So.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Why the hell did I claim that horse? I don't know. So whenever you have Dan on your team, you just be like, blame it on Dan.
Okay, I didn't want to pick him. That's fair.
I didn't want to, but he did.
To be fair to Michael, editor-in-chief is a Dan horse. He loves these kinds with the breeding, and he thinks they'll go long. So,
yep. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, finally, let's go to Gulfstream Park on Saturday. This is not an official Derby prep, but we've seen over the years this is a race that can serve as an unofficial Kentucky Derby prep. Obviously, as we go down the road, the Holy Bull and the Florida Derby at Gulfstream Park. So obviously, it makes sense to talk about this race here in the Derby preps section. It's Mucho Macho Man Stakes Saturday. It's worth $100K for 3-year-olds going 1 mile. Race 10 on the program. Field of 10 lines up for this one. 5-2 on Mutasabek. I remember this horse from the Breeders' Cup, ran on the turf. So Pletcher brings this horse back to the dirt, and here he is. I'm way too excited for this podcast getting closer to being done. Mutasabek, is that it? That's it. Mutasabek. Let's go with that one. But that horse is your 5-2 morning line favorite. What do you think of this field, as far as this race and moving forward?
You said that the Mutasabek ran at the Breeders' Cup. I don't think he did. I think he kind of just maybe walked at the Breeders' Cup.
No impact is what the proper words are on the DRF.
No movement of the feet.
He's still right now sitting in the gate at Keeneland.
Just a non-effort completely. Look, he is interesting. I don't really want any part of him as a favorite as far as picking him on top, but I do think he would be a defensive use for me. If you remember, he did debut on the dirt and looked really, really good at Santa Anita. And then he went to the grade 1 hopeful and he got third, beaten 12. So that was really bad. So they said, hey, we'll move him to the turf. I think they did that kind of to just get him to stretch out. They wanted a little bit longer distances with him. I really don't think a 1-turn mile is where you're going to see his best effort. I wouldn't give up on him completely no matter what happens in this race, because I do think 1.8 miles on the dirt, he might play a little bit of a factor, but I'm going to pass on him on top here. This race, you could go a lot of different ways. I think there's definitely some sneaky horses in here, unlike the last 2 races we talked about where we kind of pretty much know what those horses are. Here, there's a lot of them that could kind of jump up and kind of bite you. And I really don't like the second choice as far as an on-top pick either in Pickin' Time, who was really too bad to believe last time out in the Rimson. Now, the one reason, again, why I would maybe play him defensively on multi is he was pretty good in the Nashua going a mile. So he does have that race under his belt. But I didn't want to go either one of the favorites. I went with the number 3 Easy Time, as much as it pains me to say that, because Magic Mike owns this horse, and I really don't want them to win ever. So, but I don't let the fantasy league influence me whatsoever. Number 3 Easy Time for me on top. This horse debuted at Woodbine and crushed by 2 3/4. Looked really good over a synthetic surface. Moves to the dirt today. I don't really mind that. Has a dirt pedigree. He kind of looks to me like a horse that Mark Cassidy debuted, saw what he could do, said, okay, wrap him in bubble wrap. Let's get him to South Florida and let's get him on the Derby trail. And so I think Jose Ortiz agrees with me. He picks up the mount. I thought that was a huge, huge sign that this horse is pretty damn good. So number 3, Easy Time on top for me. 12-1 on the morning line. I will give you $1,000, Michael Myers, if this horse is 12-1 or over on the morning line or on the actual line. I think this horse will be more like 5-1. But Easy Time for me. I like all the signs for Easy Time coming into this race.
Yeah, it is painful, right? Because I'm not going to pick him just because I know you were going to, and
yeah,
we can't have both of us picking the horse. I mean, we can't give him that much credit. But yeah, I think he's got some. If he runs really well, even if he loses and runs well, the Woodbine to right from the Woodbine move over to Gulfstream Park gives you some interest as far as, okay, he might be. He's obviously got a great sire, not this time. as well. So a horse that might make some noise moving forward down the trail. This is one of those. This is a tricky one because over the years, we've seen this race produce some horses down the trail, but not always is it the winner. That's what's kind of interesting about this race. We go a couple years ago with Code of Honor. Came here and lost, but then kind of rebounded last year. Solely, Volante obviously kind of fizzled, but was at one point was kind of a hyped up horse on the Derby Trail. Didn't win as well in this race last year. So you never know with this kind of race, like kind of what's going to produce underneath. Listen, I'm going to go with the price, and you probably will get 6-1 on him. I went with number 6, Awesome Jerry. Mm-hmm. And I don't love the horse here. I definitely don't love the horse. I should say I don't love the horse like as a Derby contender. You know what I mean? Like I don't see this as like a stepping stone, but you got to love the fact, you talked about Jose jumping on your horse. How about Irad jumping on this one? That to me was a huge sign. This is a horse that, really has ran really 2 good races to start his career. Got beat by horses on my team now, highly motivated. And then, quick tempo, Roderick all came back to win that after that race. I mean, that was a really good Nyquist, that race at Keeneland. Finishes 4th that day, and then it comes back to run at Delta and finishes 2nd. It's interesting. Like if he came back to this race and they got some random jockey, that's one thing, because that's kind of who's been on him, right? But the fact that Irad jumps on, listen, when he's got it's the numbers are insane. When Joseph and Irad get together, it's like 40 some percent. And I'm not talking like the last month. It's the last 2 years they hit at 40%. So when Irad jumps on one of these horses, it's live. Like there's no doubt about it. You're talking about a 40% mark, and you're getting 6-1 on a horse that I think is going to just kind of keep kind of grinding down the lane. He likes Gulfstream Park. He's 1-for-1 there on his debut. He looked really good. So listen, I think this horse has got a legit shot to kind of make the upset here and create a little buzz, but I'm not going to be super excited about him no matter what. But number 6, Awesome Jerry.
I purposely didn't talk about that horse because I knew you put him on top, so I wanted you to get the lead on that. But I'm with you. That's my second choice. So I'm really trying to take a couple of shots here against the favorite, and I don't really need to add a whole lot to what you said. I'm 100% with everything you said, and you know what? I think this horse might have been running a little too short. So I think as they stretch out, he's going to get better. And listen, we've got 2 of the hottest sires in the country, right? Liam's Map is the sire of Awesome Jerry, and you got Not This Time, the sire of Easy Time. I love it. Up and coming sires. You got really powerful connections. When you touched on Irad and Joseph, it's crazy. And then Ortiz and Mark Cassie Jose Ortiz and Mark Cassie is really good too. So I feel good. I think we can pull some upsets here.
Who is you kind of brought it up. I want to ask you, my horse is always I know we all have a horse, right? Whenever you're looking at the past performances or whatever you use and you see the sire, like Liam's Map is my horse. Like that's the horse. When I see a horse, I'm like, yep, Liam's Map. Right. I love Liam's Map. We met him. I've always liked Liam's Map. I love his sire, that he's a sire. I love the horses he's produced. So who's your sire? And I'm not saying like it has to be like an automatic, but who's the sire you look at and kind of gives you pause? You're like, oh yeah.
Oh, easy. You know the answer for me.
Okay. Number 2. Who's your? I know Curlin. Okay, that's too easy because Curlin's everybody's. Like Liam's Map is a little bit under the radar, sort of. Yeah. I mean, who's your other one?
Curlin for me. Into Mischief is the other one, and the reason why I say that is, I handicap a ton of tracks and a ton of different surfaces, and his horses can run on anything. So anytime I see Into Mischief, it's like, okay, I feel a little more comfortable with that pick. So yeah, Into Mischief is mine. I'll give you an off the radar one. If you're handicapping Oklahoma breds, look for Euro Ears. That horse can produce some pretty nice runners at a price. They don't always get bet, So Oklahoma bred races, look for Euro ears. He's sneaky down in Oklahoma.
That's definitely an under the radar horse for sure.
Yeah, I bet you didn't think we were going in that direction. Like I said, 2021 resolution. I'm just going to say and write what's ever in my mind. I'm not going to care anymore. So,
all right. I got Awesome Jerry in the Mucho Macho Man. Halterman has number 3, Easy Time. Euro ears.
I'm sticking with that resolution all year. So it might be a long year for the editors. So.
We don't pay them for nothing, right? You might as well get them to work.
That's right. Yeah, but I mean, into mischief he's just so consistent. And when you're doing what I do, you just have to look for that consistency, because you're doing so many tracks and surfaces and blah blah blah. So I'm a sucker for tap it. Hey, we kind of are a little bit too, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, tap it for sure. I mean, my issue with tappets are, and I'm totally biased with it. And that, there you go. There's a perfect example. Tacitus. It's like I see a tappet, and I'm like, well, that horse can run forever, and that's the horse. Like I get a little too over the top about tappet. Like, you know what I mean? Like I get too excited, especially when it's a 2-year-old, because like, oh well, we're good. That horse is going to be set for the Derby Trail, but they're crazy. Like they're hard to find.
I know that it's when you find one that their mind is right, they're pretty damn good. But yeah, but some Space Mountain said Pioneer of the Nile. I used to be. I've kind of faded on him a little bit. I don't know. By the way, Ric Flair. Hey, my bitter rival. I'm Sting. You're Ric Flair. What's up, man?
Dude, you know what would have made that shirt even better is if you would have showed up on today's feed with your face painted. Like if you would have done that, this would have been the all-time greatest ending of the show, or like for the year show. It would have been perfect.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You give me a great idea. Like I said, 2021 is me not caring. So,
is that a spicy mofo tabbit? That's interesting.
That's good wife. My wife says, right. "Oh, it's a gray."
That's the grays. All right, we're gonna do the 3 bigger ones under a card of the Mucho Macho Man at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Then we're gonna go back to Santa Anita for the San Gabriel on Saturday as well.
All right, whatever you say.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Time for Rapid Fire, presented by Racing Dudes Premium. Go over to racingdudes.com right now. Go to the products page and check out Racing Dudes Premium. You can get Soma Bombs, you get Ricky's Rockets. You can get, of course, Racing Dudes Premium picks, all included there. So obviously the website's always included free picks for every track running in the country. We always will do that. We'll never stop. But if you want more information on how we're playing the tickets, how we're, sometimes we have wagering guides available. We'll have the wagering guide coming up for the Pegasus coming up next month in January. So if you want some more, just more detailed information, go to check out Racing Dudes Premium at racingdudes.com under the products page. And we got some big time changes coming to the site and that page in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you go check out Racing Dudes Premium if you want to hopefully help cash more tickets in 2021, right?
That's right.
All right, we'll go back to Gulfstream Park. The undercard races of the Mucho Macho Man. Race 4, the Deanna Beach Stakes. It's worth $75K for 3-year-olds going 1 mile on the turf. It's filled with 7 lines up for this one. 5-2 on Like a Salt Shaker. Interesting. 7-2 on Fighting Force. 9-2 on Kentucky Pharaoh. Any guesses on who that sire is? 4-1 on number 6. It's a Gamble. What do you think?
You know what's really funny, and I didn't even put it together until we got to this race. American Pharaohs on the turf, they're starting to become like, oh yeah, that puts me over the edge when I see an American Pharaoh on the turf. So I'll get right to it. My pick is number 2, Kentucky Pharaoh. They ran this horse twice over the dirt, and he was disgustingly awful. He looked like he had 1 leg, not even 2 or 3, 1 leg. And then they moved him to the turf.
Pogo stick, just jumping around.
Yes. Okay. Let your mind wander on what we're talking about there.
Was it the 5th leg or?
Anyway, so they moved him to the turf last time out on December 19th, just 14 days ago. This horse won like a boss. I mean, he looked really, really good. Got out in front and just blew their doors off. I'm kind of saying, hey, what's the Chiefs saying? We're going to run it back, roll it back. What are they saying?
Run it back, baby.
We're going to run it back. We're going to run it back. That's what I have in my mind. We're going to run it back with Kentucky Pharaoh here, coming right back to a stakes. I think this is actually a pretty good spot. With as impressive as he was in that race, it's a pretty good spot. He draws the 2-hole. The one horse doesn't have much speed, so Kentucky Pharaoh, break, get out in front, see if they can catch you. Same distance this time as it was last time in that special weight. So give me the Son of American Pharaoh here. I like number 2, Kentucky Pharaoh, on top at 9-2.
So just to be clear, you're comparing the Chiefs defending the Super Bowl to a horse named Kentucky Pharaoh. Is that correct?
To American Pharaoh.
Okay. No, so I like Kentucky Pharaoh. The only thing that gave me pause was, Sisterson after winning a race is just awful. 6%. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it's definitely encouraging, but at the same time, I don't know if this horse coming back off of such a short, just ran like what is it, like 10 days ago or something, 12 days ago. So you can look at that 2 different ways. I like Kentucky Pharaoh. I'll be playing Kentucky Pharaoh and everything. I went with the one horse, Fighting Force. I like this horse for Todd Pletcher. Luis Saez gets back on the mount. I like that a lot. Listen, I mean, this horse was really good last time out, breaking his maiden day. They started this horse on the turf, came up and finished a really good second to 2nd of July, a comeback winner. Went back to the dirt, did not run so well. And then came back to the turf at Gulfstream Park, mind you, at this track, and looked really, really good. And that was earlier this month, December 5th, to be exact. So I really like the fact that this horse is increased. If you just look at the turf, 66 buyer to a 70 buyer, jumps up, should jump up again here. Has been working out really, really well. And I like that Luis Saez jumps back on board. So I'm on number 1, gets the rail. It's a perfect draw for this horse who's got plenty of speed. So I'm on number 1, Fighting Force.
Fighting Force.
All right. Let's get that up there. Let's go to the Glitter Woman.
Okay.
Great names here. All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go to race 5, the Glitter Woman Stakes. It's $75K for fillies, 3-year-olds, going 6.5 furlongs. It's fill of 7 as we have the Mucho Macho Man. It's kind of like that for fillies as far as kind of going maybe towards the Oaks Trail. So something to at least consider as you look at this race. 5-2 on Lucifer's Lair for Todd Pletcher. John Velasquez, heard of him, gets the mount. 3-1 on Hit the Whoa, Clement Irad Ortiz. 7-2 on Shop Girl, another Clement horse, Luis Saez. What you think?
Yeah, I don't mind the favorite Lucifer's Lair, but I went with number 5, Hit the Whoa, in this race. I thought she was very impressive last time out at Aqueduct. Only kind of scary thing was over a sloppy track. You're probably not going to get that Saturday, but looked just really solid. I think if you run that race again, you're going to win. And then I thought it was a really great sign that Irad Ortiz gets the mount here. Rosario had rode this horse the last 2 times. Obviously, he's out in California right now. So, Irad jumping on, a really good sign. They didn't have to scrape the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, to get a replacement rider. So I think Hit the Whoa, to me, if you run back to that last race, she might win by like 4 or 5 lengths. Like, I don't even think she has to get quite as good as what that was last time out to win here.
Hey, I mean, that's the pick, right? That's who I went with too. Number 5, Hit the Whoa. I love everything you said is dead on. I just think that, you lose Rosario, but you get Irad, like you say. And yeah, I mean, this horse really made an improvement. Like, again, this, was a sloppy track that day, but just jumps up from a 64 to an 80 buyer, comes back and beats 2 horses, Amalfi Princess and Into Vanishing, that both were comeback winners. So, I mean, that was a pretty solid race in all accounts. So I definitely like Hit the Whoa to beat, to upset here over Lucifer's Lair. I don't know. This one's a weird one, right? As they move forward, any of these horses strike you as far as the Oaks Trail?
No, I kind of think these are. I kind of think these are going to be a little bit more sprinty. I don't know. I mean, hit at the whoa, maybe. I mean that pedigree kind of seems more like turf route almost more than dirt sprint, but
I know.
she definitely has kind of looked like a dirt sprinter in her 2 races. Lucifer's Lair, Quality Road. I mean, I guess a couple of these, could stretch out, but as good as that crop looks right now, I'm not taking a lot of these real serious as far as a Kentucky Oaks contender.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do a hell of a lot to get to anywhere in the ballpark of what we've been seeing so far. So I'm with you on this race. Number 5, Hit the Whoa.
I like that name.
I know.
But now we're coming up on the greatest name of all.
Mm-hmm. Race 9.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wouldn't be this one by chance, would it?
Which one? Well, that's a good one, but what about the name of the number 1 horse?
Don't even. I mean, come on, really? How... that was like the first thought, but I was like, come on. Oh, shit. Imagine the sound effects I can play with that one. All right, let's get to it. 3, 2, 1. Last one at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, race 9. It's a Ginger Brew Stakes. It's for 75K. Fillies, 3-year-olds. Go 1 mile on the turf. Field of 9 lines up for this one. 3-1. Your morning line favorite on number 3, Honey Pants. Great name there. Number 6, Kona Lima. 7-2, 9-2 on Designer Ready. 5-1 on who? Oyster Box. I'll let you talk more about that horse. And then 6-1 on the 8. I Get It. What you think of this race?
I'll start with my top pick. I went with number 6, Con Lima on top, and I kind of played an angle very similar to Kentucky Pharaoh. I decided to go all in on this recent Gulfstream win. Now we're going to a stakes. Last time out, Con Lima got a gate to wire victory in an allowance race, going the same distance as today's race by 5 1/4, and looked very, very good. This was this horse's first start on the turf, and they had tried to get her on the turf in 2 previous races that got rained off. She finally touches the turf for the first time, and she wins by 5 1/4. I think this might be a really nice filly. So I went right back with Con Lima on top. And I will say for the number 1 Oyster Box, it's my favorite thing in the world. So I hope Oyster Box has a good showing. I definitely think this is a horse to use. And second time for Grand Motion. So let's all pray for Oyster Box to have a nice, safe, clean trip.
Safe and clean. That's the way you handle those oyster boxes, But no, listen, this is the thing. It's a tap it too. So, I mean, it's like a double whammy for you, right? It's an oyster box and it's a tap it.
Is there any other way to
what do you make, in all seriousness, what do you make of, on your pick, Con Lima, Irad Ortiz jumping ship and going over to Honey Pants, another oyster box type horse?
I'm happy. I hate that guy. I'm happy he's gone. Give me Paco any day. Screw Irad. You go have fun with Honey Pants. I'm gonna stick with Con Lima.
Would you screw oyster box?
Yes.
Oh my God, we got to get this wrapped up. I went with there's nothing funny about what I'm gonna say. I went with. There's really no point of giving my pick at this point either. I'm on number 7, Designer Ready.
I've never even heard of this horse.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Who cares, right? Leah Size gets them out here.
You can have all this fun and you pick Designer Ready. Come on.
I know. I'm really regretting this decision of picking this horse. But listen, this horse was flying down the lane at Woodbine last time out. I like the fact that I just can't. Like, why does it matter why I even like her? I mean, I don't. It doesn't even matter at this point. By the way, it's another tap it if that helps. Okay. The horse was flying late, and and going a mile 16th that day, he cuts back a little bit, which might be a little bit an issue. But this horse is bred well, has some nice siblings. Be a comeback winner and Mrs. Frankel last time out. So I like the fact that they shipped this horse here, and Louis Size jumps right on board. So I think this horse has a ton of ability going late. So I like this horse to pick up the pieces very end of the race. Number 7, Designer Ready.
Hey, just real quick before we move on, to try to be serious for a second, why would Irad jump off the Con Lima for Honey Pants?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. That's the thing. I don't understand. Like it doesn't make any sense to me because obviously the horse ran really well with him riding the horse. Is Todd Pletcher. Obviously the connections are there, and then he jumps over to Honey. I mean, it's not. He's never rode that horse before. I mean, it is Clement. So I mean, but yeah, it's definitely something it's something interesting for sure on both ways.
Well, hopefully Oyster Box just covers them up late. That would be ideal. So
my kids have questions now.
Well, kids, an Oyster Box is just kidding.
Oh man, that was that was good. Who cares?
Michael Myers says maybe he doesn't like. Maybe he doesn't like running back right away. I mean, shit, it's 3 weeks. I mean, I get that in today's times that is right away. So you might be right. Might be right. By the way, that meanness was not geared towards you, Mike. It was geared towards the fact that we now think 3 weeks is too quick to come back. I hate that. But, sorry. He's right. Never liked Irad. Can't trust a guy with that shitty of a haircut. He's right. You can't.
Speaking of, I think it's a good opportunity to talk about the store. What was it? Where was it at? Indiana Grand or something? Where if you're married, the jockeys that got married, you can't.
Oh, it's at Naira, I think.
Is it Naira?
Yeah.
There's no way it's Naira.
Yeah, it's Naira. Hold on. Let me look it up.
It is.
Yeah.
So jockeys, this was from David Grinning from DRF. Jockeys Trevor McCarthy and Katie Davis were married earlier this month. Per NYS Gaming, anytime both have a mount in the same race, those horses will be coupled, including stakes races. This comes into play twice on Friday, 3 times Saturday, and once on Sunday. So because these jockeys got married, which obviously is a rarity considering there's it's a mainly male colony. Like they have to couple their horses. Meanwhile, and the reason I brought that up during that is like someone made a joke, and I won't say who. It's like Irad, the Ortiz brothers have been making races work. Let's just call it that for years in the same race.
Yeah,
and not coupled. So how's that work?
That obviously is the number one argument. I thought Samich's comment in our group message was really kind of fascinating. So if you're in a long-term relationship with the person, they don't need to be coupled. But once you get married, then they need to be coupled. It's like, they didn't meet yesterday and get married today. Like, they've been together for however long. I don't know. I don't know the personal lives of jockeys, and that's kind of nasty. I don't want to know, but I'm sure they've been together for a while if now they're married, right? So
it definitely feels like a rule that, and I think Magic, someone said this, like it feels like a rule that's way outdated, that they just, it's 2021 now, and they just like, whatever. Like, then, and I get it, like it doesn't come up all that often, right? But that seems like a rule that needs fixed.
It seems like somebody in the racing office should have looked at that and said, well, this is pretty ridiculous. Let's not do this.
Because imagine if you're, ownerships. They don't care. Like that has nothing, no impact on them. So if they got those jockeys on their mounts, and they don't want them coupled.
It literally affects the bettors, and it affects the tracks because they don't have as much betting interests. So it's really not beneficial to anybody. So I have no idea. Yeah, that's true. Smith and Chantel Sutherland, they were together for years.
So
until he finally had enough of her. But I mean, they were together for a long time.
Moral of the story is you just don't get married. That's just it.
Well, if you remember the show Jockeys, Mike Smith was doing everything he could not to get married.
Yeah, I know, right?
Maybe tomorrow I'll feel different about it. Well, can't do that. Yeah.
So. It's perfect. The jockeys they have a perfect situation because they're like, well, I can't, just can't get married because it'll screw everything up. So, all right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go to Saturday at Santa Anita, race 7, St. Gabriel Stakes, grade 2. We're 200K going 1 miles on the turf is for 4-year-olds and up. Field of 7 lines up for this one. 5-2 on Another Twist of Fate, and you got 2-1 on Count Again. Those are your 2 top contenders. Next year is 4-1. Bob and Jackie at 4-1. 6-1 on Bowie's Hero. It's kind of a interesting race, right? It's one of those horse races that's got those kind of typical turf distance horses out there at Santa Anita. What do you think?
I am going to take one last shot with Bowie's Hero on top. Here's why I'm doing it. 6-1 in this field is too high. Like, he shouldn't be the third to last betting choice here. So if he stays at that 6-1 mark, I think he's just too much value to ignore. And the other big reason why I'm doing it, Jared reunited, and it feels so good. Flavian Pratt back aboard Bowie's Hero for the first time in a while. The last 4 times that Flavian Pratt was on this horse, it was way back in 2019, and he won on him twice. So I thought that was a really good sign that Flavian gets the call again. This horse last time out in the Seabiscuit was only beaten 3 1/4 lengths. The problem is he was beaten by 3 horses that were in this race, so that's not good. But listen, I think Flavian Pratt gives this horse a little bit better trip. The 2 races that he won, he got this horse a little closer to the lead than he normally is. He was sitting like 3-4 lengths off the lead instead of what he has been lately, which is 6, 7, 8 lengths off. So I think Flavian Pratt gives me one last hope for Bowie's Hero. Kind of now or never. If he fails again, then I just kind of got to move on from him. But 6-1 is too good of a price, so I'm going to go Bowie's Hero.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those races that the price seems way too good on him, So I'd be surprised if you get it. But when you have odds that are fairly low, like on a horse like Another Twist of Fate, who is end up being my pick at 5-2, it's like, damn, that's pretty low to take on Another Twist of Fate. But listen, I mean, this horse, kind of an interesting horse. Obviously, at one point was like back in 2019 was like a Derby type contender, right? Second Lexington, finished 10th in the Preakness. But after a long layoff, came back, and then another little bit of a layoff. Back to turf. When came to turf after running synthetics all this time, or back previously before the Derby Trail, kind of the Golden Gate, comes to turf and runs pretty good 4th in the Seabiscuit at Del Mar. Count Again, Flavius, Next Year's I'll Beat Him, who's all in. 2 of those are in this race. You got to think Peter Miller, second start with him. He puts blinkers on, which he's very good with. He has a really good percentage with first-time blinkers. He hits at 25% first-time blinkers. I just think that the fact that Rosario comes back to ride this horse again, you get the blinkers angle, you get the second off angle. I think this horse will be pretty. I mean, he'll definitely improve. I think. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. It's just a matter of if this distance is a little too much for him. We'll see. But I think this horse has a lot of upside considering we haven't quite seen what he is on turf yet. And I like the way he ran against some good horses the first time trying turf. So I think I'm going to give him a shot here at 5-2 to beat Count Again. But Count Again, what's your thoughts on Count Again? Because the reason I couldn't pull the trigger on Count Again, he just seems like he's a little – now, granted, he's running in some pretty good races, but he still is a little inconsistent for me.
Yeah, I agree with that a little bit. I think he's a deserving favorite based off the Seabiscuit win last time out. But, Yeah, he is a little inconsistent for sure. I almost think, I don't know, like he needs to prove it over this course a little bit. This course has been kind of speed favoring. He likes to come from way off of it. I realize Bowie's Hero does too, but I'm just hoping that Pratt gets him in the race like he has in the past. I liked your pick too, another Twist of Fate, because of the speed favoring turf at Santa Anita. So that horse could get out in front. But yeah, Count Again, deserving favorite, but one that I will try to beat on top.
Doesn't another Twist of Fate a little bit have a feeling of like somehow gets with Peter Miller and magically turns into like this really good turf horse? Like,
yeah, I tried to play him last time. If you remember, I picked him in the Seabiscuit, and I thought he ran pretty well to get second.
Yeah, he did.
To get fourth that day, only beaten 2 lengths. So yeah, no, I'm with you. That's why I like your pick a lot. I would put another Twist of Fate second, and just because you're right, it just seems like he's magically going to get this horse, good. He's just that good of a trainer. So
him and Tough Luck Bob, they just find the best way to get the most out of these horses. So number 6, another Twist of Fate.
Yeah, they share their crib notes. So
yeah. Oh man.
Oh lordy.
All right. 3, 2. We're gonna wrap this up. So you guys got any questions, comments, thoughts, end of year? Kind of want to get something off your chest. Halterman, that's for you. If you want to, any New Year's resolutions. I remember last year's New Year's resolution. I said 2020 was going to be a great year. It turned. That doesn't always pan out, but
it wasn't
this year. I mean it. All right, 3, 2, 1. So all the time we have, check us out at racingdudes.com for free picks and our premium selection on our handicap products page. Click the products link at the main menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Remember, racingdudes.com is your destination site for all free horse racing picks and information, offering all major horse racing tracks all year long. We're on Twitter at RaceRaceRaceDudes, Instagram and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, your website at racingdudes.com. Remember, go check out the Magic Mike Show. And now the Rocket Hour. Halterman, you're a special guest on the Rocket Hour every day, right?
So far, yes. I'm going to be out of town next week. Of course, I'll be here for Blinkers Off. I'm not missing that. But the Rocket Hour might have to have a replacement next week. But I will be there tomorrow. Be there on Friday. We're going to talk Gulfstream and also the Jerome. And yeah, we do it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday right now. So check out the Rocket Hour. 10 a.m. Central Time is when that is happening.
And make sure to go check out the Magic Mike Show. They just did the show before us earlier today. They did the late pick 4 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. So if you want more information, obviously we hit that pretty hard there. Some of those races on at least included in that. If you want more information, go check out the Magic Mike Show. I just saw the Santa Ynez field is out. Baffert has 4 of the 7 in the race. Brilliant Cut, Nazareene, Exotic West, Queen Gold, Varda, Frosteria, and Calypso is your field there. So that is a Kentucky Oaks prep race, by the way, everybody. So that's why I brought it up. But it doesn't seem like it's not like a crazy good race, right?
No, that's a weird one. No question about it. That's kind of a weird race. I haven't looked at it yet, but it seems like Bob Baffert might win that one. I know that's kind of surprising to everybody. That's not a brilliant race though, for sure. On that same card, Magic texted me just a second ago. Editor-in-chief Michael Myers, editor-in-chief, is running in the 6th race at Santa Anita, a maiden special weight, going a mile on the 16th. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe you can get 5 points. Flavian Pratt aboard.
There you go. Chasing Fame, DeJour, Papal, All About the Money, Roman Centurion, McGowan Ford, Star Sailor, Editor-in-Chief, Santos to Wilson, and Kennebec are all in that race. Bob Effort's got another one in there, but that seems like the horse to beat for sure. I did see that Magic told me that My Little Philly is going to run here the next week or so. So
really,
should be coming up here. And let's say, I think he said if she didn't run this weekend, it was going to be the next, I think. So
all right, class reunion you're talking about.
Class reunion debuting. So We'll see if my hunch was right about her or not.
You gave me a really good horse name. My Little Filly would be a hilarious horse name.
For you, it has to be. Like, that has to happen at some point. Like, there's no doubt about it. My Little Filly. That's perfect.
I agree. I totally agree. My Little Filly. I'll name one like My Little Filly when I buy my first one. So
someone brought Space Mountain. Woo! Asked, shocked about Tiz. Let's talk about Tiz a little bit. Tiz the Law retired. So what do you think? I mean, that was news that we did not expect to hear, right?
Yeah, I didn't expect to hear it for sure, but I'm not shocked that it happened at the same time. Just because it's just horses like that, if something goes wrong, they don't try to keep them around at all. It's just that's it. And so no, I'm not really surprised. I hate it though. I wish he was going to be around for next year. I think he could have been a good older horse, but he did a lot. They should be proud of that horse. He did a lot for a New York bred for sure. And he'll go down as one of the best Travers winners ever as far as the performance. That was great. I hate that he's gone, but not surprising. I mean, that's kind of the world we live in. They retire all the time.
It's a bummer because the whole kind of goal was to kind of get this horse as a 4-year-old, right? And
Yep.
It's just one of those things that like you say, he's worth too much money now. So any kind of slight issue, it's like, well, no, it's done. It's over. So, yep. And that's what's happened. Yeah. I mean, you'd like to see it. He'd been a huge player, right, in the Pegasus. So obviously that would have been amazing. Considering you don't feel like you got the best out of him in the Breeders' Cup. I know that some are still salty about the ride. They had switched mounts, of course. So yeah, it's unfortunate for sure, but it'd be interesting to see what he does off the track, right? If he turns into this incredible sire, at least for New York breds, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if we can answer that question yet. I don't think that's going to happen. I would love to.
I tell you what, Space Mountain, when the very last show we ever do, when we're getting ready to retire, we will answer that question. But we literally can't answer that one because they will hang us in the streets if we try to answer that question. We get treated very unfairly when it comes to controversial things. I've decided, like Stable Duel put out a shirt and it said I hit that. If we put out a shirt that said I hit that, it would be the biggest outrage. They'd be calling the Attorney General on us. I don't get it. Like if Stable Duel put out fillies like a Fast and Firm, they probably would have sold 1,000 of them, and everybody be like, "Oh my God, they're so funny," And us, it's like those assholes need to die for putting out a shirt.
Yeah,
I
mean, we went as far as like, listen, okay, it's fine. We will donate money. It's fine. We will donate money to an aftercare, and put it all in the name of whoever. Nah, we don't want it. It's part of that shirt. No big. It's like what?
We can't be associated with that shirt. It's like you really don't want a $1,000 donation. I mean, we couldn't even donate money. It was absolutely crazy. Dennis, he's back from dinner. What's up, man? You missed it all. You've missed it all.
Whisper it to us. If it makes you feel any better. Halter and I have talked about it extensively.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we've gotten as close as like basically writing a thesis about what we would do, and it just we can't do it. We can't do it. It's
we've worked too hard We've worked too hard to have it all fall apart.
I got a question. It's technically still 2020, but 2021. You said you don't give a shit. Is that something maybe we could approach in 2021?
No, because I don't want to ruin the whole website over it. I still want to have a job, so no.
That's true. That's true. Jared Clemens wants to know what y'all think of Charlatan and Nashville. So obviously Charlatan, we talked about Charlatan in the opening about being a Derby prospect. Obviously that was a joke. But yeah, Charlatan was unbelievable. I mean, he was truly unbelievable in the Malibu, and then Nashville was almost equally unbelievable as being bad. Halterman, I know you've kind of been salty about it as far as how you picked and your thoughts on the so I'll let you kind of take the lead on that. But what do you think of that race, the Malibu?
I mean, I'm really just one of the dumbest people you're ever going to see. And that's all I could say about the handicapping part of it. But yeah, Nashville just horrid, and Charlatan was almost too good to believe. I mean, he ran out of his mind in that race. If Charlatan, keeps doing that, he can certainly win the Kentucky Derby, right?
Right. Yeah, the sky's the limit for him. I mean, before you know it, he will be popping up on Alterman's Kentucky Derby list if you don't don't watch yourself, right? So
yeah. No, he was good. He was really good. He's going to be a force as a 4-year-old.
What are your thoughts on Charlatan moving forward? As far as, there's talk like keep him sprinting, or that's run him in the Pegasus, or like what is that he won the Arkansas Derby, obviously, so which is a 2-turn race. So what do you think they should go with him?
Yeah, he didn't look good in the Arkansas Derby when he stretched out, but I think he was coming off the drugs by that point, and they were kind of ruining him at that point. So that's why he had to take such a break. But yeah, I would keep him sprinting, honestly. I think he reminds me a lot of Gamine. I really think that horse and Charlatan are a lot alike. I think they're going to really excel those 1-turn races, and then the 2-turn races, they may not be just great. So I would keep him sprinting, but he's going to be a force. And look, if they take him to the Pegasus, especially with the news of Tiz the Law retiring, Charlatan will probably be the favorite, right? If they take him to the Pegasus.
I totally agree. Jared also asked, do you think the tire and track did Nashville in? Like, do you think it's a track issue with Nashville?
I think Nashville running like absolute garbage did him in. I don't buy the track excuse, really. I just think he didn't show up.
He didn't show up, and he ran incredibly too fast. I was so disappointed in him, because I really thought he was kind of going to be like the next big type sprinter, and that was just awful. I mean, he was going backwards faster than he was going ever in the race. That was just really bad. Another question from Space Mountain. Woo! What are your thoughts on the Lasix? As far as how much of effect will it be with the horse who can't have Lasix within 48 hours of a New York race in 2021, and we're starting to see this more and more with the Lasix. Another interesting thing we found out with the springboard, how none of those horses were able to actually qualify. Similar to that, how do you think the Lasix is going to be it's an overall player in racing moving forward?
I think at first it's going to wreak a little bit of havoc until everybody starts getting used to not running with it, right? So, I think at first it is going to change some things, and it's going to be really. I mean, I don't know how you can predict though that. Oh well, it's his first race without Lasix, and he's going to run like shit. There's nothing you can do. You're probably going to just have to take some lumps at first while they transition to get all of them off of it, and then we have the form. Of hey, they don't have Lasix, and they've ran 2 or 3 races already like that. So honestly, there's no doubt in my mind it's going to place a factor in a lot of races until we get it all changed and situated.
Yeah, I definitely think overall it's awesome. Like, I'm really excited about it. Obviously it works internationally, right? So why can't it work here? It's just I think it's just a matter of time, and it's going to be. We've become so. It's been such a part of how we handle horses, right? That it's going to take some time to, detox out of it. They just ask Bob Baffert. He knows all about, the detox portion of things. So nothing. You didn't get any response. Not going to say tough luck, Bob.
I'm just being quiet. I don't know who Bob Baffert is. I do know tough luck, Bob.
Oh, of course. Our boy, Steve. Evil, I thought you were out partying tonight. Come on. How can you have Austin and I ranked 9th, 12-1 in the fantasy league? Shenanigans.
Well,
Shouldn't
Steve,
you be out partying?
Steve, you finished with negative points last year, okay? So your track record is not great. You've been in the league 1 year. You finished with negative points. No horse on your team won a race all year. And by the way, it went all the way to September. So I'm sorry for your 9th place ranking, but your track record's not great. So I had to go with that.
Oh, boy. Anything else?
No love for Michelle Yu. Space Mountain, woo! I don't think she's in the same class. I think she's outclassed the 3 that Space Mountain mentioned. But I like Michelle Yu.
I love Michelle Yu though. I think she's really nice. She's really nice to us. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I've talked about Brody Lee a little bit. AEW wrestler who passed away, Jared. But they had a tribute for him, a tribute show. So it was good. Yeah, Brody Lee. I didn't know him all that well, but I got into it a little bit and watched the tail end of his career. It was a good show last night. Christopher Potts wants to know, is there any top-notch info from Magic for this upcoming weekend from Chad Summers?
Magic's probably got this on mute by now, so he's probably not listening or watching.
So the kiss of death for Nashville, if you want to go back to Nashville just real quick. Chad Summers was on Twitter saying, this is the fastest sprinter I've ever seen. Well, that's when we should have all plunged the other direction.
Yeah, charlatan all day.
Yeah, I know. Anybody but Nashville at that point.
All right. I think that's going to I think everyone's got plans, or maybe you're staying home, but we're hours away from 2021, folks. All right. We only have a few more hours. Why is Ricky not using his song?
I don't know. I don't think Magic's made the video yet. I think that's
so that's Magic's fault, of course.
Yeah, I thought the video was coming with the intro song attached to it, but I haven't seen it. I just show up. I'm a guest on the Rockets, so I don't know as far as the production goes.
Most overhyped story of 2020 is the new turf shoot at Santa Anita. Hey, look at us, PETA. We're making you happy. Yeah.
Rick. Oh, Steve wants to know when will Ricky's shows be on podcasts? So the problem with that, Steve, is we cover the day of. So like tomorrow, we'll do it on Friday, and we'll cover Friday races. So I think if we're going to make it in a podcast, we're going to have to pivot and do a day ahead. So if we're on Friday, we'll do Saturdays. We're talking about it. We're kind of testing out Ricky, making sure that he's worth doing a podcast for. He's off to a good start.
Jared wants to know if the gifts have started paying off yet.
That's a good question.
They have, yeah.
Really?
They have, yeah. Tinder Gold works. I'll tell you that. Yeah, the Trulies are long gone. Let's be honest about that.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. The U-porn it's a gift to keep. I mean, it's never stopped paying off, right? So that's automatic. But yeah, the Tinder Gold. You kind of have to weed through, as Ryan so elegantly put it to me the other day. It's Tinder Gold for a reason. You're looking for gold, so you got to get through the dirt and in the stuff the stuff, and you got to find gold. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. So I found a few. So a few nuggets in there for sure.
That's good. That's good to hear. I like that.
And the best thing is I have my hydration back. You know, I've gotten a lot of my stamina is back.
The eyes aren't sunk in like last week when I saw you. So.
Yeah. It's been brutal. I've had IV in me for like literally a week straight, but we're good.
Steve says you need to drive a couple hours south to Northwest Arkansas for a good time.
Hey, Steve, if I could ever see a picture of this girl, maybe I might be on the road, but I don't know what she looks like yet, son.
Steve, if you can send us a picture, we'll put it live on air. So we'll hang on for another couple seconds. Dennis asked a serious question about the Santa Anita. He's talking about the new turf course, the sprint course at Santa Anita. Listen, they needed to put it in because they were running those 5 furlong races, and nobody really wants to do that. And so they can run 6 and 6.5. So I think it's great. Yeah, the course looks beautiful. You know, maybe it's going to favor speed for a while until they figure it out. But just to have it and have those races at 6 and 6.5, I think it makes a big difference, and it can help them fill fields. And what that means for us as bettors, it's a much better betting card overall when they can card those races and get a full field. It's not Judy the Booty from Saratoga. Yeah, that was one heck of a booty, no question.
There's some unreleased footage of that, but we'll keep.
You wish there was.
we took it. Remember, I deleted it though.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did. Okay, there is
because we were gonna post it, and we're like, yeah, that's probably not good, but now we probably should have.
Let's see. We're just keeping going here. Here's a good one.
And Jared, you treat Tinder like you're handicapping horse races. Have you looked at the stats and things? Yeah, of course. You got to look at the stats. Seriously enough, in obviously a very joking manner. You learn. You look at a bio or you look at a profile, and you can pretty much instantly tell. You swipe left or right. So yeah, you get a pretty good feel for these as you go through enough of these. So yeah, you do you do figure it out pretty quick. I'm just gonna leave it at that. A serious question. Space Mountain has he's entering horse tourney universe in 2021. Any advice or tips? My advice or tips would be to listen to Samich, to go pick his brain. And obviously there's some articles on the site about that, and listen to Magic Mike and interact with him on social media and things of that nature, because Samich obviously has kind of newly entered the game as far as tournaments, and has really done well. He's all over the place. So he's definitely one that if you're looking to enter that, I would definitely pick his brain.
I plan on getting into that hardcore in 2021, actually. So maybe we'll learn together, Space Mountain.
Let's see.
Stay away with the ones with most PPs. Also check how often they raise. Same there.
I'll tell you what. You can usually get a pretty good feel for how often they race based off of their pictures. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. If they're maidens, you can usually get a pretty good tell of that.
Oh Lord.
Oh shit.
Are we confirmed for the Pegasus Cup? Steve wants to know.
Confirmed for going? I don't know. I have not heard. I'm waiting. Usually we don't get anything from Gulfstream for the credentials and whatnot until the beginning of the year. So we'll probably get something next week, but assuming they'll allow us, we'll be there for sure. Yeah.
Flair versus Sting 2021 horse tourneys. There you go. I'm ready. Magic thinks so. Yes. Magic thinks yes, for sure. I think Magic is in love with her. So.
Okay. All right. It sounds like everyone's kind of staying busy at home here. Stay away from the geldings.
Vinny's watching. Wow. All right, Vinny.
Oh, we will certainly be there. So don't worry.
Yeah, even if we can't, they don't let us in, which if they don't let us in Saratoga by 2021, let's just burn this world down and go somewhere else. But
hey, really good news.
What?
I will still have Tinder Gold when Saratoga comes around.
Woo! Jared, you have no idea. Like, that is the best news ever. Yeah. I have some friends that do very well on Tinder when they go to Saratoga.
We gotta go. We gotta go.
I could introduce you to a few that I know through them. So we have to go on Tinder.
I know the same friends, and I'm gonna ask for their numbers just to go, get a head start. Just kind of get the ball rolling. No problem. I've learned from the best, so let's leave it at that. Yep. All right, everybody. Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in and all you listening. Okay, they keep coming in. Evil Stevel is by the same table. I'll drink Saratoga. We have to drink more than we did last. I mean, Steve and I alone put some major damage on. I don't know what was the bill. If you can, you may not want to share that, but it was very high. It was just Stevel and I. And we had guests from time to time that visit. I think Vinny was there for a little bit, and we had fans that came over, and we were, of course, we were buying drinks for everybody. But the bill was very high. So imagine if we were all there. The table literally set right next to the the paddock bar. You're sandwiched between the paddock bar and the paddock. It can't get any better than that. So we'll do that again for sure.
Can't wait. That's a great way to end 2020.
No special. You quickly find out it's just better to buy a brand new keyboard. You don't even mess with it. It's too bad. 375 plus tip. That's pretty good. Pretty good. So we'll just, it's something to shoot for, right? We'll just shoot double that next year.
If I'm going, we'll have a good shot at it. So
Halterman's there with his rum and cokes. Oh no, Woodford and cokes. I'm sorry.
No, I can't. I don't drink Coke anymore either. So it's Woodford and water is what I've switched to.
That's impressive. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, and of course, have a safe. I say have a safe New Year's Eve, but get fucking crazy, because it's the end of the year, and we got only a few hours left of this godforsaken year. And we'll just move into 2021, all as new men and women, and I look forward to seeing everyone here next year. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm Jared Welch, Aaron Halterman. Good luck next year. All right, everybody, thank you so much, and thanks for tuning in. We kind of had a pretty, Steve, you have a great New Year's, okay, Steve? I want you to have a great. I know you got big plans, and if I don't have more information, if Halterman and I don't have more information tonight, we're gonna be very disappointed. We gotta know, it's supposed to be icing and snowing here later. I will drive down there. Just saying. So, all right, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.